Danny Brown's latest album, Quaranta, is finally here, and you can kind of think of it as a follow up to Triple X, which came out in 2011 when Danny Brown was 30. At that time, it was very much a this is Danny Brown at 30 and what we're going to be getting from him going forward. So, leading up to him turning 40, we heard a little bit that, yes, he's working on it. And then 40 came around and nothing happened. It turns out there were some delays and issues with its release, but we finally have it. And it definitely feels like a what's Danny been up to since Triple X, even though we have been hearing from him kind of consistently between these two albums. On this project, he definitely discusses a few topics that he's been pondering for quite some time, it feels. The intro track, Quaranta, does a good job of addressing these topics and themes that he wants to get into with this project. It starts off with the lyric, "Rap shit done saved my life and fucked it up at the same time," which may be something that not a lot of people think about or really consider. Like if you're getting into music or if you're just from the outside looking in, you may not realize that there's all these things that can affect you. Yes, obviously you want to go into it for the money, fame, obviously the art as well, but you want the benefits of it. But you don't really realize that in doing so, you may run into some issues like Danny has. Like he got further into drug use, he cheated on his girlfriends, he strained relationships because he was so focused on furthering his career. Like there's all these things that you don't really consider at that, like at the beginning stages, and it's a hard thing to balance for some people. Now these themes are something that he addresses on later tracks such as Hanamini, like just a little bit, and same thing on Shakedown, mostly on that second verse, but he really directly addresses like a lot of his missteps in relationships with the track Down With It. Now, while those tracks focus more on the relationship aspects of his life and the relationship aspects of Quaranta as a whole, there are other things that he reflects on quite frequently throughout the project. I mean, yes, he's in his 40s now, so he's going to be reflecting on his younger days. Like, we have the first track that he really does that on with Young, Black, and Poor with Bruiser Wolf, where they're kind of just documenting when they were kids, just stuff that they would do. Then we also get Celibate with Mike, where he talks about how he used to sell a bit of drugs, and then he was in a jail cell a bit. Like, a lot of play on words there, but another thing that he was just doing in his younger days. And then the outro, Bass Jam, is very much he's just thinking about his mom. Like, he's talking about how, like, in his household, he and his parents and his family would just really listen to music, and there's like he could always relate things to certain songs, and they would more so communicate through music rather than words because it was easier to them. Like songs could express what they're thinking a little bit easier. The other major theme that is present throughout the project, which isn't really talked about too much in the intro track, like it's there on the chorus, because the chorus is basically saying like, "Yo, you're 40 and still doing this shit." Like the theme is really just him getting older. Like he is, like I said, 42 now. He is an older rapper. So what is he doing? Like, what is his goal? What is he trying to do? And I think he's really just trying to rap. Like he addresses a little bit of it on Ain't My Concern, where he touches on the current state of hip hop and how there's a lot of people who are just gaining popularity due to clout chasing or following trends, like not really going into music for the art of it, which kind of touches on the first lines of Quaranta. Like, yeah, you're doing rap because you'll get money from it. Like that is, at the end of the day, even no matter how much of an artist you want to be, like you got to pay the bills, and if music is paying the bills, that's fucking great. But like a lot of people are just doing it strictly for that. Like whereas he and some other people focus more on it as the art, but also they're doing things to build a long-lasting career. Like you think of other artists who are getting to this age who are kind of in his same level, like Open Mike Eagle or LP. Like these are older artists, or artists that are getting older, who haven't really had to go out of their way, like too far out of their lane. They're doing stuff that's genuine to them, and they're still doing well, and like they're not super well known by any means. I mean, LP a little bit more so just because of Run the Jewels, but there's artists that don't necessarily need to stretch themselves super thin. They're not trying to get all the money. Like, they want to do this because it's what they want to do. Now, obviously, he said that all on Ain't My Concern, but he also ends the track by essentially saying, yeah, I'm not really concerned with others that much anymore. Like, whatever you want to do, that's fine. I'm just going to focus on myself because what y'all do ain't my concern. And then the second time this comes up, in terms of like just rapping, is immediately on the next song, Dark Sword Angel, which is produced by Quelly Chris and Chris Keys, and it's just a wild beat. Like, he basically is like, all right, I just talked a bunch of shit on the previous track saying how you guys are just doing things not necessarily wrong, but you guys are kind of doing it wrong. Let me show you how I do it, and let me prove myself, essentially. He has that on this album as well. Overall, I really enjoy this album, and it's exactly what I wanted from it. Like, going into it, or like just hearing about it, I'm like, okay, well, I like Danny Brown as a person, as an artist. Like, what is he going to give us? I mean, Triple X was, like I said, a kind of a time capsule. Like, this is what Danny Brown is at that point. What is Danny Brown going to be at 40 and going forward? Because, yeah, we got Scaring the Hose earlier this year, and that felt a little bit different. Like, just a little bit. Like, that was a more aggressive, kind of wild style Danny, where this is very much a, no, wait, I need to tone it down. I need to get my point across. Like, that album was maybe more of him having fun. This is more of him like doing what he wants to do, like, and just expressing himself. And what I think I really enjoy about this project is that the topics that he addresses are, while they're very specific to him, they're brought up in a way that I think a lot of people can still relate to. Beyond that, it also feels very focused in terms of what he wanted to get across. And he does so without giving us 30 songs. Like, the album is only 11 tracks and runs 35 minutes. Like, it's very succinct, to the point. Like, we're not getting a bunch of bloat. Like, honestly, the only songs that I wasn't like super into were the singles. And even then, like, those are still really good songs. Like, you still get good music overall. And I mentioned on the Tantor breakdown, like, I wasn't sure how it's going to sound on the album. It sounds fine. It's still not my favorite song, but, it is what it is. Anyways, so far, off of this first listen, my favorite tracks are Quaranta, the title track, Dark Sword Angel, Shakedown, Anami, and Bass Jam. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the album so far. I know it's only been out for a little bit, so it's really hard to judge. I'm going to continue to listen to it, and I have plenty of notes for other songs on this project, so if you want a review for it, I'm mostly ready. I can get it ready. Also, while you're down there in the comments, like and subscribe to see more rambling and content like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.